The title Spare is related to Harry's relationship with him, with William being the heir and Harry being the spare, of course. Joining us live from London to talk about how the reaction is overseas to this book is our pal radio host Paul Coit.
Hey,
Hi, Paul.
Hey, morning, Larry. Good morning, Robin. How are you?
Well, good. We're reading that Prince Harry's poll number's not good overseas. What's the reaction been?
Yeah, it's not really a surprise that things have dropped a little. As you mentioned, the book is out now, and it was released by mistake in Spain about 3 or 4 days ago. So I'd actually spent the last 3 or 4 days trying to translate. All I got was the number 7 and the word hola, and I couldn't get any further. So I've had to wait until this morning, until the actual release of the book. So it was released at midnight over here. They were expecting huge queues, as we call them, or lines for outside shops. It wasn't that huge. There was lots of cameras outside and people going, okay, what do you think about the book and what do you feel about Prince Harry? But it is going to be a huge book. There's no doubt about that, because it is something everybody's talking about, and it is pretty much mixed. There's so many people that are very unhappy and upset and feel, for goodness sake, what else do you want to say? And what else are you going to do to try and trash the royal family? Where there's the other side, they're actually thinking this boy's been fairly very badly mistreated, and he's and it's felt like a spare all these years, and it's now time for him to actually be able to have his say.
So are you saying that you think the needle's right in the middle on this? I thought people in England would side more against Harry.
Yeah, I think it's beginning to move. That needle there is, it's probably, I'd say, around 75%. I think it's fair to say at the moment against him. And I also think I think I mentioned to you before, it's a generational thing as well. A lot of younger people are now side towards Harry, and it's the older the older people that have grown up with the royals and feel as if what he's doing is just trashing the whole of the country, as well as the royal family. I mean, there's some really interesting things in there.
Let's talk about some of the details, Paul. I know Prince Charles had mentioned, or we had heard through the press, that, Camilla was off limits, but it sounds like that Prince Harry, blamed Camilla for a lot of the leaks about him and William to divert attention from her.
Yeah, I've spoken to some people who are very close to the press office and the royal family as well, and deal with the royal press office a lot. They very mumuch doubt that. He has said that it's both him and William didn't want Charles to marry again. Obviously, it's the old. It almost sounds like the old wicked stepmother, the pantomime villain for that we're very hooked on over here. But how he actually feels about it, it's interesting, because he just says that she's the one that is stirring things up against him to actually bolster her up. So it's very much a popularity contest is what he's talking about. Yeah. That the offices are very much against each other, and instead of actually doing good things, what they're actually doing is trying to pull down the other one to make them look good. But how true that is, I mean, in the early days, there's no doubt that the press office of the Buckingham Palace had to bolster Camilla and make her look good from the press that had gone before. But how much of it is her actually pulling him down? Well, that's what Harry's got to say, but whether it's true, we're not too sure.
All right, Paul, always great to talk to you. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Paul. There's Paul's info on Twitter and Instagram if you want to follow him.